I'm so glad I don't review TV shows. Well, usually. Hello, friends and neighbors. I'm Brian from the channel Brian. In case you haven't heard the news, Disney just announced some 35 properties that are coming to Disney Plus across Marvel, Star Wars, and animation. And I could not possibly be less excited for this. Not at all. And the most important reason is because Disney just isn't putting out good products anymore. But the thing is, I am not a Disney hater. I love a lot of Disney stuff, new and old. Dude, I liked The Last Jedi. Please understand who you're talking to. Disney and I have always had a very simple deal, and that's they keep making good stuff, and I'll stick up for Disney more than most cinephiles ever would. But recently, they're just not holding up their end of the bargain. Onward was kinda bad. Toy Story 4, Incredibles 2, and Spider-Man Far From Home were bad. The Disney remakes are all bad. Rise of Skywalker might be one of the worst blockbusters of the century. Frozen 2 was... Okay, I like Frozen 2, even if it is very, very flawed. Even Avengers Endgame isn't all that great, and when you think about it, that movie should be, like, the easiest sell in history.
Oh, but dude, you gotta watch Clone Wars.
Shut up!
And they're not just bad, they're bad with a very concurrent reason. Many of these films just have no unique, interesting ideas that are consistent with their property. But even if you see absolutely no problem with the quality of products Disney's been making recently, it's still too much of a good thing. It's common cynical practice to come up with fake, obvious, cash grab Star Wars shows, but these aren't a joke. These are real. What I don't want is to humbug on people, but I feel like general audiences might not see the problems I have here. I'm ready to forego the argument that this is obvious nostalgia and name recognition baiting, because at this point you either care about that or don't. When I think about a piece of media, I try to, at least a little bit, think about the relationship between the audience and the creator. I want to reward people who have my artistic interests in mind as somebody willingly paying for their stuff. Getting a little heady here, but big media franchises can be a great way of conditioning people into waiting for satisfaction. A window of 4 to 5 years for the next installment of a series gives you time to stew in why you love the characters and the stories you love. The feeling of wanting more eventually gives way to understanding why that feeling's there in the first place. This feels like the creators at Disney are trying to take that away. It's luring you as an audience member into being complacent and unquestioning. There's making stuff that's fan service and pandering, but this is like trying to drown you out of a reaction because the sheer volume means it doesn't matter what you think. This is so much more material than we're used to. We had no clue at least like 30 of these shows were even happening. It's not even like Michael Bay, who makes dumb Transformers sequels because he has orders from a studio and he's just doing his job. They don't care what he does as long as it makes them money. This is people sitting around and mulling over how to get you to think less about what you're seeing. They're trying to see how thin they can spread themselves before you realize you're being exploited. Which is so much worse to me than just making something that sucks. When I see a newish Disney movie I love, let's take Tangled, my favorite scene in that movie is the I See the Light musical number. When it gets to that scene, I'm invested in the romance between our characters, their emotions are resonating with me, and I'm swept up in the visuals. Even if you're going to be cynical about it and say that scene was probably workshopped to death, they still sought to create something that would instill those reactions in me. I had a bad feeling about Mandalorian Season 2. Because I felt it was setting a bad precedent for things to come. The first season was a fun, scaled-back breath of fresh air, but suddenly these characters from other shows started pouring in. Instead of Season 1 telling me why I should be invested in Din Djarin or Cara Dune or Baby Yoda, Season 2 is asking me to sit down and wait for Boba Fett to show up. It's not we have a story to tell, it's we have Bo-Katan and Ahsoka in this show. Cara Dune is getting her own spin-off show. A character who is from a spin-off show. If the Disney remakes have proved anything, it's that this Disney doesn't understand why people liked this Disney. But audiences will return to a story no matter how bad and hollow and stripped down if they recognize the characters. Just as recently as Mulan, it feels like Disney was really testing the boundaries of this idea. $70 million worth of Disney Plus viewers still bought that movie, even though Mulan was the only returning character. It doesn't even matter if the shows are good. Streaming service prices are the same whether or not you watch them. So long as content is supplied, you'll feel less prone to shut your subscription off to begin with. If each month of subscription gains Disney the profit of one movie ticket, then Disney is always making a profit whether or not you watch those shows. The revenue that comes from people who might not have interest in the shows coming out in a given month is still going to those shows. Not to mention, long-form television shows means more content, which means each property takes up more room in the news media cycle. Every fandom-driven property exists in a cycle of rumors, predictions, announcement reactions, casting reactions, trailer reactions, interviews, reviews, and explanations of said content. Using The Mandalorian as a template, though, they proved they can replicate this cycle for each show, each season, and sometimes every episode. At worst, a Season 2 show generates 2 cycles worth of articles and videos and social media buzz, effectively using the same product. And because media outlets can only publish so many articles a week, and Disney has the power to make enough stuff that those article slots are always filled and don't go to their competitors. Disney's releasing projects in this much unnecessary volume to establish a landscape where outlets are exclusively cycling through their stuff and pushing media that lacks the resources to the side. It's the ultimate min-max business strategy. Going back to the relationship between artist and audience, you can look at pandering, follow-the-leader, trend-gobbling trash. But a studio still had to count on people liking what they put out to maximize profits. But to Disney, your artistic appreciation is completely incidental. It makes no difference whether or not the shows are good or bad because they perpetuate themselves. It's all base and no superstructure. Now, my point here isn't to discourage people excited for a Tiana show or an Ahsoka show or a Buzz Lightyear show from liking what they like. I just want you to know that you're being conned. Disney is not your friend. This is the most transparent money-grubbing move they've ever made, and it's the result of an insidious business model set on cheating people out of their money and stifling competition to a monopolistic degree. If you feel the need to vehemently disagree with me on this, you can try, but just remember that if you do, you're the one fighting the uphill battle, because you're the one defending whatever a droid story is. Alright, I'm really not excited for these shows. I'm really not excited for where the future is going. I haven't really encountered that many people who are against this move by Disney and just think more content is just a good thing. I wanted to offer a different perspective that hopefully makes you understand why somebody wouldn't be excited about this. But anyway, if you like not only words, but the way I arrange and then say them, please consider subscribing to me, Brian from the channel Brian, and liking this video. Thanks a lot, and goodbye.